Andrea, are you ready to join a secret society of sleuthers?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'll give you the secret handshake and the password. And it starts with, "This is Eric,
This is Andrea.
and this is Hallmark Mysteries
And
and
more.
This podcast was created by fans for fans and is not affiliated with or sponsored by Hallmark or the Hallmark channel." Okay, Andrea, you are in the secret society of sleuthers now. You've successfully initiated.
I mean, I think I have some really good recommendations. It's gonna say.
Perfect.
It's gonna say.
So the first order of the Secretary of Sleuthers is, we talked about it a little before, like what the heck's going on with Hallmark Mysteries, but we're doing it in the reverse. How they were airing Mystery Island and Aurora on both networks.
Mm-hmm.
And now this week, they just aired the Signed, Sealed, Delivered, which a lot of people will argue that that's a mystery and it sort of had its home on the Mystery Channel as just a Hallmark channel and did not air on the Mystery Channel. So are we to read into this?
I mean, I think the last one that we reviewed, we requested it not to be on the mystery channel.
Right. Like I say, I've always argued it's
So
drama and
I
not
feel
a
like
mystery.
I don't know. I mean, could you? I guess I saw your post with your tin hat slash vegetable strainer. Yeah. I won't read too much into it at all. I mean, we'd already kind of talked about, I think they're going away with the Mystery Channel in general, just because of cost. I think they're taking away all of that. And yeah, I mean, I think it's just times are a changing clearly, and we have no idea. I mean, May is very, light on movies in general. What, we had 2 actual new movies to most people. The no mysteries. I'm just still disappointed about the mysteries. Like, I just wish they would throw them somewhere. Like, give us something. I mean, at least my one Easter egg, or I guess fun thing that they've done, is the British mysteries, because I have not seen them, and those are entertaining me. I have dove into that Moonstone one. I am now just started episode 3, and I kind of like it. I mean, the episode 2, it gets a little bit more fun and quirky. You kind of have to get through that first one, and there's only 5 episodes. I think if it was more than one season, or if I knew it was longer than that, I probably would have maybe given up. But I'm like, okay, it's 5 episodes. I'm already, about at that middle point, and it gets a little quirky, and it kind of,
Okay.
when the detective shows up, then it gets a little more playful, and it leaves you questioning what's happening. And obviously, since I do yoga, like Vishnu, they talk about, the Hindu god Vishnu in it the start of every episode, probably to tell us, remember, this is what we're doing here in this series. Remember Vishnu. This is important to this Hindu god. And it's just really an intriguing, I guess, that piece of it, just from all I know of, like, the British settlers into India. And it's just an interesting little flavor that I have enjoyed, that piece. Not that they talk about it on this show, but I know that piece of history. And I am finding it more enjoyable. I am also about halfway through season 2 of Rosemary and Thyme at this point, and I am enjoying that still. There's a few clunkers of episodes, but
All right.
it's pretty good. And those are the only 2. I'm sticking with that before I dive into the next 2, just because I can't watch that much content. My life is just overwhelming right now. Whew.
Yes.
We're full-fledged basketball season over here, so a lot going on.
I've told you all along, I watch, I've got my Acorn and my BritBox, and I watch those British movies all the time. I love them. So, yeah, I'm glad that Hallmark is doing it. Now, would I prefer if Hallmark was doing their own really interesting programming? Of course.
Yeah.
But, what I will be doing, because you are so crazy and so busy with your life, is I am going to go completely on my own with if I was taking over Hallmark, what would I do? And it has a lot of mystery in there. So that's going to be the episode after this one, which we'll talk about later. But
I think I'm going to skip that one.
And, I am the ruler of all things Hallmark.
Oh, gosh.
You will agree with most of what I have to say.
Oh, you think so?
I do.
Well, I also want to update everyone. the Timberwolves did win. So we are up 3-1 on the Lakers. If we win the next game, which is going to be really late, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesday, then we move on to the second round. So if you thought you were done hearing Timberwolves updates, which now I'm getting quite a few people in the DMs who are cheering the Wolves on. They might not watch them, but they are cheering me on as I cheer my team on. So thank you.
I watched The Wild. They lost a
See, I don't watch
heartbreaker.
hockey. I heard that. I don't watch hockey, but that is the Minnesota team. I do know that much.
Yeah. And the Pistons, which I'm not watching them, but they're in the
Oh,
playoffs against the Knicks, and I heard they
they
got
lost a
screwed.
heartbreaker today.
Oh, they lost again?
Yeah, the refs had there was that one's going to be some
Well,
controversial.
that was their other game they lost where they had an over and back and they didn't call it and
Oh
let
yeah, this
them
one
the
was a
Knicks win.
foul that they should have called. Yeah, they definitely want the Knicks to win. If the
Mm.
Lakers look like Minnesota, we're going to beat them. They got to have one of the big market teams in.
All right. Well,
That's
what do you
my tinfoil hat, Eric.
put on your yeah, your little coriander on your
Vegetables.
head? Okay. Well, what do you say we go to
We
Keyser
dig in.
College and talk some Emma Fielding?
All right, last one. Emma Fielding, more bitter than death. The president of the Association for the Study of American Archaeology is murdered on the eve of announcing a successor. Now it's down to Emma Fielding to find the killer. All right, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I loved it. I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it. I do have some questions, but I could forgive most of them. I really loved Emma's house because this was the first time we actually got to see her house at our college. I thought it was super cute, loved the decor, loved the size of it. I mean, it felt very on brand with this character, which sometimes we don't see. I mean, it
Right.
actually was a normal sized house that you could see this character living in, which
Unlike the music teacher from
like any of them,
Josh's
like
thing.
really any of anyone's
Right.
house, like she actually had a realistic looking house. So I appreciated that. I have some. I love that we saw Maddie Finchio. You know who I'm talking
Benicio.
about?
Yep.
Yes, and Jeff Gustafson, who was in Signed, Sealed, and Delivered. Norman in Signed, Sealed, and Delivered. I loved having them as the professors in this one. I, of course, the one thing I guess I didn't really like. Actually, there's 3 things. I didn't like that they brought in an old boyfriend. They brought him back. That seems to be a staple for Hallmark at this era. Like, let's bring in an old boyfriend to throw in some conflict. I also have a question for you. Do you have saffron at your house?
No, actually.
No, that
But
was like a big piece in this movie, and I'm like, that is a very expensive
right.
herb. Like, that's not cheap. And I think I have some only because again, I have my Ayurvedic dishes, which are Indian in nature. They use saffron, so I have some. But most people are not going to have that. So I found that to be an odd thing that they picked on. Another one I had questions on. She was brushing her teeth in her pajamas, and then she left the house to go to the college to Althea's office. Nobody's going to leave their house when they're like so close to bed to go discover this mystery,
She
right?
has to know. She has to know.
Oh, I'm going to bed. I'm already in my pajamas. Like hair is out. No, we're going to bed. And then my other kind of big question, are we to believe that Althea, Dean Hawkins, and the security chief Breck are all the same age?
Yeah,
That
there.
is a head scratcher.
Considering in real life she's younger than Courtney Thorne-Smith,
You could tell that too.
and
I
yeah,
mean, I literally was like, wait. She's retiring. Is it because she came into money? I'm a little confused because she looks like she's the youngest of
just
this bunch.
just the stress of the job. She had
I
to
mean,
call it
what?
quits.
I'm like,
I
maybe
found
if you're switching jobs, you could call it that. But I was like, retiring.
yeah
And
when
they're supposed to be no, there is no way she's remotely in the ballpark of those 2 guys at all.
well and yeah and it's like I thought when they first introduced her, she was like her peer, like
Yeah,
her
100%.
buddy, fellow professor, and then it was like there. So she fast tracked it and burnt out. So that's what's going on with her.
Yeah, no. I mean, I liked her as an actress, but I think
The
that was miscast. Like, come on, Hallmark. Like, there are some ladies who are in their 70s who could have done that role great justice. I don't understand why we went that route. But so
well,
overall, though, I put all of those aside. I still enjoyed it. So for me, It was a 4. What about you?
I I enjoyed it. I thought there were some pacing issues with it. I
Oh.
thought the second one I liked
Was
better.
it slow?
There were periods where I found it a little bit like,
I'm usually the one
mm,
who does.
let's roll a little bit more. But
Oh,
all in all, I thought it was definitely better than number one.
okay.
So let's see. I think I went 3, 4. So I'll do this as a 3.75. So
Okay.
wasn't quite as good, but definitely better than the first one. I I liked the characters. I think Courtney Thorne-Smith, like we were not too kind on her acting in the first one. I think this role is perfect for her. She's the archaeologist. We don't yeah, if we go ahead and really try looking at it in some sort of History Channel thing, it's going to fail, right? But she doesn't take it too serious. She has fun with the role, and I think she does a really good job. And as a result, she's a very, very likable sleuth in these. And, the banter she has going on is, fantastic. I do think part of this one too just had a lot of things that left your head scratching your head. First, and I cannot believe you did not call it out. What accent did this guy have? Because I think he's supposed to be British because he's talking about being from Oxford. So sometimes he's dropping a little British on. Sometimes it goes away and you can see his native New Yorker coming out. But then other times he sounded like he was totally Australian. And I don't even know what accent. Like he was just multiverse. And so I thought it was like he was faking at first. It was like so bad that I thought it was some sort of, I don't know. So that was a
I
big
agree with you
distraction.
there. I didn't write that down, but I remember the first time I was like, wait, is he British? And then he slipped out of it and then it went back into it. And then I also noticed that I think he only had one other acting job after this movie. So just gonna preface with that because I looked through some of their IMDb's and I was like, oh,
Okay.
he has not acted really since.
Yeah. I will say at first too, when I first came on, I thought he was the guy from Fixer Upper Mysteries. Uh, is that like what's his name? James Tupper or something?
Oh, you
No, that's
thought
James
Colin?
Tupper is in this one.
Yeah,
Who
Colin Ferguson?
At first I thought it was Colin Ferguson when he first popped up, and I'm like, oh wait. Then I realized no, he's not.
No.
I don't know. And I was like, that's kind of weird. But I agree. While I didn't like the past boyfriend thing, I did enjoy his character because he was so arrogant, but at the same time, he kind of knew he was super arrogant. And like, the one line when finally, you got Jim Connors saying, come on, I need your help. And he's like, whoa, are you deputizing me? I don't know what accent he used for that particular line, but he just had a lot of funny things with his over the top personality. Now, like I said, there are a lot of plot holes in this one. Like, there's this underground cavern system where you just like plop up the thing right in the middle of the hallway, and no one like is noticing this, and not every single student. Like, if there was a thing like that around my school, every student would have gone down there, and
Oh,
probably for not the best, things, right? So there are a lot of that stuff. But
okay.
all in all, it was fun.
I have a rebuttal for that because the middle school I went to, so my dad went to high school at the middle school. Anywho, there's like 8 small town life. But there are tunnels in that school. And my dad used to take the tunnels to get from one classroom to the next. Not everyone would. And my dad was like a straight A, like band nerd, and he would do that. But when we knew that, like our parents who went there knew that there was tunnels. So I knew there were tunnels and I could have taken the tunnels when I was also going to school there. I did not. I never knew quite where they were because my dad didn't tell me. And like they had them, I think, off. So some people knew where they were, some people had taken them. So I feel like that's it can be a vibey thing. So
All
I
right.
give that a pass, Eric.
All right.
Now,
All
granted, I
right.
don't think the floor was being pushed up. I'm not sure
In the
though.
middle of the like hallway of
I mean, that
the
we might have
science,
noticed,
whatever, the
but
engineering thing.
just
Well,
saying.
like I say, but all in all, like I say, I had fun, and I'll go back to it too. I like the fact that who is it? It's Corey and Joe, the assistants. I like the fact that they really are characters in this. They weren't quite as involved in the mystery, but they're still involved in the overall plot. But I like the fact they really created characters with them. So it was a lot of fun. I guess the other stuff we'll get into when we start talking mystery, minute stuff.
Well, Mystery Minutes. I did remember who did this as soon as I saw him, on. I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure that was him. Um, but I did find I just rewatched it to like, okay, why did he do this again? I can't quite recall. That ending fight scene, it was so bad, it's good. It was one of those Jane mysteries. As I was watching it for the second time, the first time I was like, I don't know if this is good. Now watching it a second time, I'm like, yeah, this was not good. I mean, she like bust over. I mean, first of all, like you're throwing him through this mirror, and we're supposed to expect that he's like FBI and he's like getting beat up very easily. And then she falls off the chair. The chair handles break, and she gets up with them on her arms and like boom, gives him one to the back. I'm like, what is this? Like, what is happening? And then at the end, when he's like, "Oh, I got shot or whatever in his arm," like nobody's thinking like ambulance, ambulance. Like he has to tell them and remind him, which felt very much like a plot thing where they're like, "Oops, didn't he get injured? Shouldn't he probably need an ambulance because he got injured?" Oh, quick, write that in the script. Someone needs to say something so the audience isn't like, "Wait, he's okay? Like with it, he doesn't need medical help." So some of that, you have to again bypass and be like, "Okay, it's the Hallmark." Because I think this was their, step into getting a little bit more action towards the end of the movie. And it started off a little fumbly, but it was still entertaining. So bad it's good. So if you haven't seen this fight scene, give it a little watch. It's kind of entertaining.
Along those lines, if you recall, both the first two episodes, I talked about how the fight scenes were really exciting, really good, great action. And I'm right there with you. I'm like, wait a minute.
This one,
So,
not so
this
much.
old dude who I have to say does not look like he spends a lot of time on the Peloton, right? He takes out first of all, the ex, whatever, what's his name?
Duncan.
Duncan. He takes out Duncan. He takes out Jim, the FBI guy. He's like knocking them all away. And then Emma comes and she's the one who like totally takes him out.
Where
So,
the chair breaks, which I don't think would
girl
happen either.
power. I'm all for it. But I just found, yes, it was not quite as good as the first two episodes where I thought they were like really fun, exciting. And I'm with you though. It was just kind of like I had a good chuckle with it. And
Yeah.
you're right. It is Jane mystery. It could have fit right in Murder at the Mosby, right?
Oh,
It would have been
100%.
perfect, perfect. The other thing, though,
100%.
what I did like, and I'll say I did figure out who it was pretty early on. He just, once again, some of the people, they just look shady, right? But what I did like was how this mystery had layers to it too, though, because while the dean wasn't necessarily involved in the murder, he was involved in his own shenanigans, and so it was a pretty good, well written mystery that had different things. The red herrings were, I thought, good. They just, of course, have somebody who you just look at the head of security, and he's, oh, my brother fell from the things. It just, okay, that's going to come back. That's just not in there randomly. And they got an actor who looks like he's some sort of, guy who holds onto the killer. But the fact of it, it wasn't just revenge. In fact, it wasn't even revenge at all that did it, which was kind of the surprise. It was he was running a little black market ring with all these, um,
Artifacts.
heirlooms and stuff
Yeah.
like that, which was another twist to it. So, like I say, I thought the mystery was pretty darn good, especially for Hallmark stands where it's usually one mystery and you're done. And this one had a bunch of different layers to it, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, well, romance, they heated up a little bit here. So our romance roundup, obviously the ex being back in town, and then like Jim even talking to her, I'm assuming best friend, at the house and asking why they broke up and then
Right.
getting advice. Obviously, that was kind of a nice, like, oh, let's just put this carrot here for him. And then at the end, when they, oh, what do you think about me? And just having that open dialogue, I thought was great. I mean, I would still love to see more of them. When I did look through their IMDb just to kind of see what people are doing, besides the young guy that played in White Lotus, most of them really haven't acted much since this movie.
Hey, come
I
on now.
mean,
Tess is in Hannah.
yeah, but in a small role. I mean, they're still like not big roles.
Right.
Like that would be it. Like everyone else is like little one episode here, one episode there. So it's not they're not on anything. I would love to just like bring this back. Like this would be I, I would be game. You don't even have to have Tess and that guy who was on the White Lotus. You can have a new because obviously they would be too old to play that
Right. They've
graduate student.
graduated and everything.
Yeah. And so
Yep.
that's where I'm like, they could totally do this and you could bring in different students and just kind of test that out as well. So I feel like they had something here. I just wish they would have maybe followed up a little bit more, and they stopped with the artifacts, how they would play the scene out that I said in movie one
Yeah.
that I thought was corny in my 20s, but didn't mind in my 40s. Now, having not seen it in the last two, I will say maybe that did, that's not needed. I will just say that you don't need to do that because
Right.
it kind of does make it a little, I don't know, childish in
A
some
little
ways.
corny.
But yeah, so I would be game for more of these. I know that wasn't part of the romance roundup, but to see this romance evolve because I mean, we just got it started. There, I mean, what is there else to say besides we are just seeing them start to roll, and then we know
Done.
there's nothing.
I'm there with you. I thought it was actually a super cute kiss at the end. The, just it was just cute, natural. It wasn't like I'll go back to these April Hallmark movies where everything, all the romance was so forced and awkward. It was cute. I really liked it. I liked the way that they two interact. I did they need to bring in like a gourmet detective where they brought in the ex who kind of pushed it along? I don't think they needed it, right? Because with gourmet detective, they needed that nudge. Whereas these two, they just needed to talk to each other because
Yeah.
they were clearly both liking each other. And I thought it was wonderful juxtaposition where you've got Carrie and Joe being like, oh, they like each other, and then you've got Emma and Jim giving the advice about
Yes, I loved that. I
communication,
was going to tell.
and yet
Yes.
the two of them then come back together, and you think, okay, they're going to do it now, and they're like, uh, good night, right? So they're the ones who, they still can't do it. So, and I find it funny, by the way, too, when then they walk out and Jim goes to him. He's like, "Hey, so did you talk to her?" No, yeah, I didn't either. Let's go get a beer. I thought that was
Oh,
that was such a guy thing. So cute, very
yeah,
cute.
I agree. I agree. I really like that. Well, character corner for me, I was kind of like, oh, who do I pick? I think I'm going to go with Dean Hawkins, who was played by Peter Bryant. He's a staple in Hallmark movies in general. He was in Mystery 101. He's been in A Garage Sale. He's been in Two Haley Beans, A Country Wedding, most recently, A Reason for the Season. And there could be another like 10 movies there too. So you probably would recognize him. I enjoy him, so I thought he added something to this movie, even though he was not in the same age demographic as the person who was supposed
Yeah.
to be the professor whatsoever. He still is a great actor, so he was my pick.
Well, I did go with the whatever. I don't know I forget what her role was. The head of the AAAD, whatever that she was the one, the one who got killed, Dr.
Althea,
Athea. Yeah, Althea. Because lo and behold, I then, when I finished watching this, I threw on Wild Cards, which is over there on Prime, and I was watching it. And she is in that playing a headmaster of a
that's funny.
school that deals with the mystery,
That's
deals with a secret society. And I'm like,
funny.
okay, if there's a sign, I've got to pick her to
That
be
is
my character
funny.
corner. This is it. And I was kind of bummed out that she drank the poison and killed over and died, because I kind of was liking her character a little,
I did
there.
too. Yeah.
But I guess someone's got to go. So it was kind of fun though. Like I say, just the randomness of turning it on and there you go.
Yeah,
Very
and
similar
she
movie.
she was in Christmas for Keeps and Time for Her to Come Home for Christmas. So she's been
Uh,
in some other ones
any
too.
of
A
the time
Martha
for those to go.
Vineyards mystery series. She was in that one as well. So yeah, she's been in some different ones. Signed, Sealed,
Janet
Delivered.
Kidder.
Yeah. Garage Sale. Because she's one, again, I think if you watch mysteries, you're like, oh, yeah, I recognize this character. Especially in this era, they definitely reused a lot of the same
By the
background
way,
actors.
I can do another one. The one who played like the really annoying, other professor who
Oh,
was
yeah.
thinking, "Oh, I'm
The
going to get
redhead.
it."
Yeah.
She's the one in what is it? Unleashing Mr. Darcy, who is the really snobby socialite
She's one you would
girlfriend.
recognize as well because
And
she's been in Hallmark. Yeah.
she's a very similar character there, where she gives the best side eye, or Cindy Busby actually gives her the best side eye when
That's
she
funny.
does one of her comments. I've like frozen it before and taken that picture because she's classic, same kind of character. But nope, Janet Kidder.
Well, Hallmark trivia. So, for what I have, so the inner sanctum, one of the treasures was a portrait hanging on the wall. And that portrait was actually in the movie we just reviewed from Emma Fielding, Past Malice, as the picture of Corvius Chandler. So that's the same picture they reused. So if you were really watching, you got to see that. So
Interesting. Mine is Courtney Thorne-Smith starred in the 80s movie called Summer School. And I remember this way back when. And it started Mark Harmon, CSI, right? CSI, is that what he's in? No, he's in NCIS. And but he was like a summer school teacher who's like the gym teacher who didn't want to do it, but he just needed to get paid. So he was just checking out. And then there's all the kids who had their issues coming on, and then of course they all come together and lo and behold do everything. But Courtney Thorne-Smith was in that movie. But the vice principal was played by none other than Robin Thomas, who goes on to
uh,
become Graham Winslow in Mystery 101. So they
that's
worked
funny.
together way back in the day of, I think that was probably like one of her very first roles too. And
That's
there she
fun.
is with none other than Graham.
Love it. Well, this movie actually, when I looked at IMDb to kind of see, compare the three for Fan Corner, this was actually the highest rated. This one had 6.4. And then Past Malice, movie number two, was 6.3. And then the first one was 6.2. So they were all very similar where they landed. I would say for myself, I would rank the second one as my favorite, and then
Right.
this one, and then the first one,
I'm
which I
right there
think,
with you.
yeah, just because again, I didn't think this one was bad. I just
It
thought,
just had like a lot of plot hole thingies to it,
yeah,
right?
you had to kind of be like, oh, this is Hallmark. This isn't necessarily accurate all the time. But Hallmark and Chill, there were a couple episodes of different TV shows just because of that inner sanctum. I feel like that is something movies and TV shows, they like to do that like secret society, I feel like. So one was, I just watched this episode, Rosemary and Thyme, season 2, episode 4, The Invisible Worm. Rosemary and Laura restore a rose garden at an elite prep school. And then they have like I forgot what he was called, the stag. They
Oh
had
no
the
way. I'm
stag.
literally watching that and I had to stop like 15
Funny.
minutes into it. So
Yes. So the stag comes. Have you gotten to that point where they actually come out in the stag costume?
no.
Okay. So it's like that reminds me of like the hidden thing. So liked that episode. It was good. Now my Murder She Wrote recommendation, because of course there is also one, is season 3, episode 11, Night of the Headless Horseman. Jessica comes to the aid of Dorian, a shy poet who is the prime suspect when his tormentor dies. And his tormentor was played by none other than Barry Williams from the Brady
I
Bunch.
was about to say, isn't it the Brady Bunch guy?
Yes, so that's a fun little episode. It's not my favorite, and because Dorian, I think it's her nephew, one of her many nephews, that she goes and watches. I actually don't really like his character a ton. Barry Williams, I thought played his character better. I didn't. He just gets on my nerves. Dorian does. So I will watch it, but that just know that you watch for Barry and for Angela. What do you got?
Well, I'm going to that Wild Cards season 1, episode 7, Con with the Wind, because it is, once again, it's where the students are trying to get into, well, they think they're getting into the secret society, and what they're being told to do is to go break into these homes and steal things. But it turns out that they're really not getting into this secret society and it's fake and it's a teacher who is going ahead and he's just bitter and he's using it by having these students steal all this stuff so he can sell. And so it's a very similar type plot. So if you like it, it's a 44-minute thing. It's a whole different vibe, but it's a lot of fun. It's over on Prime. I think
Would you
there's
need
two
to, can you
seasons.
pop right in, or is it one you should
You
watch?
can pop in, but I mean, there's clearly some things that you would understand a little more. Like one of them is Jason Priestley is in it, and he is uh, the main character, Max, who's a con who becomes the consultant. It's her dad, and he gets a break from prison. So there's like certain things you like. Why is this guy involved in? So there's things I explain, but at the same time, you could pop in and just enjoy it for what it is as well. They're pretty self-contained.
Both of mine you could totally pop in and be fine with. So, well, next week, I think we decided we're going to do a little signed, sealed, and delivered. The new one, back.
Even if they didn't put it on the Mystery Channel,
No, Back to the Moon. Is that what it was? The title?
something like that.
It's not even on the, because I tried to look. Let me see if it is now. It was not on the app. Because you have the checklist to. I always like to check them off, and I'm like, wow, they
Another
didn't
topic that will be discussed
didn't
in my
even put them
rant this
on.
Thursday.
The app that the checklist app.
No, not Chuck. I thought you
Oh,
were
I
talking
was
about
like, I
Plus.
like the checklist.
I thought you were talking about Plus.
No, but I can't believe they didn't even put it in the Hallmark movie checklist app, which is wild.
That's
I mean,
because they didn't release the poster until like 12 hours before the movie aired.
it's wild.
Yeah.
It's such a bummer. I have not yet actually watched it over the weekend. Usually I try to watch it, but again, my weekend's been so wild with basketball with my son and my husband. My husband coaches and my son plays, and then of course we have the Tim rolls on top of it. But all the things, Eric.
All the things. Well, I am
So
going to let you go get on to that busy life, and I'm going to go
go to
walk
bed.
my dogs.
I'm gonna go to bed.
Good night, Andrea.
All right, bye.